And we're back. My name, once again, is Danielle Oldham with Young Voters of South Texas. We started on Facebook, and now we're launching live on TV. And I'm very privileged to have with us Attorney Joe Flores of the Flores Law Firm, who's representing Judge Jag and Joe Benavides in their campaigns. How's it going today?
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Thank
I am
you.
so proud of you. Let me tell you, well, I'm going to get canceled, and you're going to be put on prime time. I mean, 5 years of work down the drain. But I'm really excited about this election campaign, and I'm so proud of you because you're doing something that we need to get out there. The 18 to 30 demographic, they have the stereotype in non-presidential races, they're not coming out. But you are turning that around, so I commend you, I applaud you on that, and I'm glad that you launched this show.
Thank you, sir.
Well, you know, essentially I have represented, and I'm proud to, Joe A. Gonzalez running for county commissioner. I have been his friend while he sat on the bench. Contrary to popular belief that they're putting out there in the propaganda, you don't have to be a lawyer. I'm a seasoned lawyer. I've done over 100 trials to verdict, and I've never had to go into JP court and say this and that because that's a people's court, that's a common court. For the people to go out there, there's no complicated rules of evidence. There's not all this legal jargon. That way they have their relief under $10,000 dispute, landlord-tenant, and Judge Jag did all that. And on top of that, you know, a lot of people, the stereotype, a lot of people were surprised to find out he has a master's degree. He's got a graduate degree. Nobody gave him anything. He was a policeman. He worked at night. He slept when he could, and he did his graduate stuff like I did. I was an RN, and I worked in the ICU. I worked every single weekend in her 20s. It, you know, puts a little burden on your social life in your 20s, but you have to sacrifice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where I met my lovely wife, which you met, Priscilla, and without her, just like Jag always says, I'm very fortunate to have her. I couldn't, nobody's going to put up with you doing all this political stuff 24/7.
It's very difficult. But you seem to be so dedicated to Judge Jag, and what drives you, and what drives you to be involved in his campaign and really stand behind him 24/7, the Jag train?
Well, I'll tell you why. It's because he's a role model for me. I lost my father. My father was my rock. My father died 5 years ago, and he instilled in me the drive for education, but also the passion for politics and backing up leaders that walk it like they talk it. I always say in politics, rule number one, people talk, few deliver. And that's rule number one. Everybody makes promises, but he has delivered them. What he's done for those kids, what he's done for the elderly, nobody's told him to give up every single weekend. His opponent is my age. I'm unimpressed, and I'll tell you why. What has he done for the community? Nothing. The other thing, and I'll tell him to his face, I mean, he's my age, and you got to earn it. You got to own it. And when a commissioner and a county judge tell you, you run, that's called pulling your strings, and that is wrong. And he said it, I heard it, 40 policemen heard it at the Fraternal Order of Police, that he said, and I quote, I'm running because Commissioner Pusley and Lloyd Neal talked me into it. I heard it, and I will put that under oath on a stack of Bibles. And to me, that's when I said he lost people right there, because you don't run for those reasons. You run because you have a passion, you have a drive, and no offense, but and I've seen this again and again. If you run for politics like I have, don't be crying when you get hit with a punch. You get right up and you're in that ring. Don't run if you don't have the courage or the backbone. And you know, so that's why we're bringing out these issues. Judge Jag is going to be hit hard. He was hit hard by his opponent in the primary. They picked on him, hurt his family 5 months, and then we let a power punch go. Just one for a week, and that just silenced them. I hear that they're going to do the same thing, bring out the same old broken record with Jag, about $35 and something that he was not responsible for while he was a justice of the peace. They audited him for 10 years. It came out clean. As an attorney, I've reviewed the records, and I think that everything is just fine. But it's a dirty race. They go dirty in politics. They go negative, and then they don't like it when they have to take a punch. If you dish it out, you better take it, and don't be crying about it later. As you can see, I don't mince words, Danielle.
Absolutely,
you know, when I'm being interviewed. When I'm being interviewed.
And that's what we like about you. You keep it real, and that's what us young people want. We want the truth and sincerity. In my personal opinion, I just feel like his opponent lacks genuine sincerity and concern about us. You know, Jag's going to take the initiative to help us, to invest in our future, like he already has. And I just don't see that coming from him either.
Well, you got a 60-year-old and you got a 40-year-old man. Because he's a young man like myself doesn't mean that you're going to necessarily do everything for the community. Like, I'm in you, I'm for change. You got to look at their motivations, why they're running. Why are they really running? If they're running because somebody put them up to it and they don't really want to serve, then their heart's not in it. And you should never run for that purpose. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is a full contact sport, ladies and gentlemen, and the candidates that I back up. And for a minute with Joe Benavides was right by Judge Jag every day. His opponent, Amanda, says, you've got to be a lawyer. Not true. 95% of justices of the peace are non-lawyers, and that's the way we need to keep it. We don't need all these complicated things in the justice court. This is a lawyer talking. I'm putting myself out of work when I say that. You know, but it is true, other than some certain cases. And so Joe Benavides, a Marine, just like Jack, work side by side with him. These guys walk it like they talk it. It's not election years for 8 years in the rain and the cold. They're mowing lawns. They're helping the elderly. They're feeding people. They're doing all these things. That's why I work 24/7 with them.